After making the last 2 videos about camping and our road trip that's coming up, I received a ton of positive support and a lot of people telling me that this is their dream. They want to tour the country in an SUV. I had a college friend that I played Ultimate with. He was telling me that he wanted to go on a road trip to Greenville this weekend, and he was cutting out the car cutouts and making a bed in the car, and it just got me really excited that people are enjoying this kind of content, so I figured I would just keep going with it for a little bit. This video, I'm gonna show you guys how I find places to camp, and then I'm gonna show you how I pick out a campsite inside of a campground. There's like all different types of camping, okay? So the first one that I'm gonna go over is when I'm kind of en route somewhere. So say we're on the way to the Grand Canyon and we just need a spot to sleep. What I'm gonna do is pull up this app called iOverlander. It's all user generated and there are like reviews on sites, and it's gonna show you where other people have camped, and they're gonna tell you if there's cell phone service, if you're allowed to camp there. And a lot of the times it's going to be a Cabela's, a Bass Pro Shop, a Walmart, Cracker Barrel, and then I've heard of people camping at or sleeping in casino parking lots. So those are my first choices if I'm kind of en route somewhere. I'm not gonna go to Asheville and spend the whole weekend in a Walmart parking lot. You know, I'm probably gonna go find a cool campsite somewhere. You're gonna sleep okay in one of those parking lots, but it's not like the same to me as sleeping in a campsite that you paid for, where you're 100% allowed to be there and there's like security and stuff. Sometimes in a Walmart parking lot, there's other people, maybe homeless people sleeping there. So you kind of have to be strategic about where you park your car, the lighting, you know, you wanna like be aware of your surroundings. So that's kind of like just to get by. I kind of recommend most people getting campsites because it's just a little more comfortable. You have a bathroom, sometimes you have a shower, you have a gate to keep you protected, and it's generally like a cool place to be. So like on a body of water, on a river, on the side of a mountain. My first stop is recreation.gov. This is a database of all of the federal campgrounds in the entire United States. You can pick based off of destination, or you can pick off of availability. It's just nice because you can make all your reservations in one spot. So on our road trip out west, I am able to get campsites in different states all on one app, which is great. The pricing is very affordable. A lot of the federal campgrounds don't have showers, but they're all pretty consistent. Like you kind of know what you're gonna get. You're getting a picnic table, a fire pit, a place to park, sometimes more, but that's kind of the minimum, and that's kind of all I expect. My second favorite choice would be to find a state park. There's a different website for each state. So Florida has a different one, Georgia has a different one, Alabama has a different one, which is kind of annoying because you have to make an account with each state. I like the recreation.gov because it's just one for all the states. But you know, there might be 100 state parks in Georgia. They're normally in a cool area, like I said earlier, on a lake or a river or something. There's generally stuff to do. It's kind of like a mini national park. So state parks would be the second best option in terms of a paid campsite. If you're feeling a little more adventurous, or you just don't want to pay for camping, this is another good option. In national forests, you are allowed to disperse camp for free. There's all these rules, like up to 14 days, then you have to move like 5 miles. You can't be within close proximity to like a recreation site. So there's all these different rules, but you are allowed to camp in national park or national forests, not national parks, for free. Generally what you would do is you would just find a service road and then drive down it for a while and then just park on the side and spend, you know, a couple nights there. We've definitely done that before. That would be a good option if there's no availability anywhere, you didn't book ahead of time. And a lot of these campsites book up in advance. So like when we go out west, these campsites at Yosemite go on sale, I wanna say 5 or 6 months before you can arrive. And they go on sale on the 15th of every month, and they are reserved within seconds. It's almost impossible to get them. So keep that in mind. If you want to go camping, like I suggest booking your site at least 2 months in advance around Georgia. That probably should be enough time, but I would just do more the merrier. And then you can pick out a specific site that you want. And I'm going to teach you how to do that in a minute. Another option for campgrounds are private campgrounds like KOAs. I haven't stayed at one of these since I was like 12 with my parents. I generally don't go to them just because I kind of want to support the state parks and the federal campgrounds. They are a good option. They're generally more expensive. They might be more crowded, a little more touristy. Like sometimes they have like putt-putt and stuff, but like in a bind, you could definitely do that as an option. I don't know if it's nice or not because I haven't done it in so long, but there are tons of private campgrounds that you could check out. Now I'm gonna explain how I choose a campsite, and I'm kind of particular about the campsites. Not all of them are created equal, but if there was only one campsite available and it was the worst one in the whole entire campground, I'd still be grateful that I got it. It's not like a big deal, but after you've been camping a bunch, you kind of know what you like. So the first thing I do is I read everything on the campsite page. They will tell you all sorts of things like how many people can the campsite accommodate. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 8. How many cars can the campsite hold? Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2 or 3. I look to see if you're allowed to sleep in your car. Sometimes you aren't allowed to, and equipment is mandatory. So I generally take a tent with me, and that way if this were to come up, I would set the tent up, possibly sleep in it, or just sleep in the car because they can't really tell. But sometimes the place where you park the car isn't level, so they'll generally tell you that. Also, they'll tell you if it's a hike-in site, so you have to be aware of that. Sometimes you have to walk like 25 feet, which is not a big deal as long as you're aware of it. So another thing that I look for is I look to see how close the bathroom is and how close the water is. Generally, I try to get kind of close. That way when you wake up, you don't have to walk very far. I look to see how big the campsite is and how many neighbors there are and how close the neighbors are. Another thing I like to look for is shade. Sometimes you get a campsite that just gets tons of sunlight all day long, and in the summertime, you really want some shade. So what I do is I'll get on YouTube and I will find a video of somebody giving a tour of the campground, and I'll try to figure out where the sun is setting, where the sun is rising, and just see if that kind of changes my site selection. So I really hope that helps you pick out a campsite. It's really not that hard, and you get way better at it as you go on. You can spend as much time as you want, or you could just find a site and go. But I highly recommend downloading iOverlander if you want free sites and you're just kind of passing through somewhere. I think everybody should download recreation.gov. It's a wonderful website. The campsites are a great value. Go camping, and if you want help going through the process of finding a place to go camp or a campsite selection, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you find some stuff, and yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. I would love to make a video about it. Thanks, bye.